Before going to subnet mask, let's have some idea about IP address. IP address consists of 4 numbers separated by 3 dots. We will pronounce it as 192.168.0.2. This 4 number can change from 0 to 255 each. There are 5 classes of IP address: class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. These are the IP range which we can use in our home, office, or commercial use. Let's take the example of class C. This is the IP range of class C which we can use in our home, office, or commercial use. Note that the first number is same, the second number also same, that is 192 is same with 192, 160 is same with 162. So the first number and second number of class C will be 192.168. It will start from class C IP address will start from 192.168. Note that the third number is not same. This means that it can change from 0 to 255, and in the fourth number also it is not same. It means that it will change from 0 to 255. So the third number will change from 0, 1 up to 255. In the same way, the fourth number will change from 0, 1 up to 255. Now let's learn how to assign IP address to PC. Let's take the example of class C. This is the IP range which we can use in our home or office use. The first IP address will be 192.168.0.0, and the second IP address will be 192.168.0.1. Next number will be 2, next 3 up to 255. But we will not use this first IP address, that is 0, and the second number and the last IP address. We will not use this on computer because the first IP address is known as network address, and the second one is reserved for router, and the third one or the third one, that is the last one, is known as broadcast address. So this 3 IP address we cannot use on computers. Now let's learn how to assign IP address to PC. The first IP address, that is 192.168.0.0, cannot be assigned to PC. In the same way, 1 cannot be assigned to PC. But the third IP address, that is 192.168.0.2, can be assigned to PC. Next 3 can be assigned to PC. 4, 5 up to 254 can be assigned to PC. The number of computers from 2 to 254 will be 253 computers. Note that we change only in the fourth number, that is 0 to 1, next 2, next 3 up to 254. So we simply change the last number. This set of computers can communicate with each other, that is from IP address ending with 2 to 254 can communicate with each other, that is they can share file and printer among them. Suppose if there are more than 250 computers, then how we can assign? Then we will simply change this 0 to 1, and the first IP address will be 0, that is 192.168.1.0. Next 192.168.1.1. Next will be 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 254, and the last IP address, that is 255. We cannot give this first, second, and the last one to PC. If it is finished, then we will change this 1 to 2. In this way, we assign IP address to computers. This IP address range, that is one group IP address, can communicate with each other, and this 0 group IP address can communicate with each other, but they cannot communicate with this 0 group IP address and 1 group IP address. In order to communicate between this 0 group and 1 group IP address, we need one router to configure, and they can communicate with each other, that is 0 group IP address and 1 group IP address. Now let's learn about subnet masks. The default subnet mask of class A. A means 1, that is 255 one time, that is 255.0.0.0. In the same way, class B. B means 255 two times, that is 255.255.0.0. Class C. C means 3, 255 3 times, that is 255.255.255.0. This number can be changed by this set of numbers. So this number can be either 0, 128 or 192, 224, 240, 248, 252, 254 or 255. We can change this number by these numbers. But note that we cannot change 255. For class A, we cannot change the first number, that is 255. We cannot change. In the same way, B, we cannot change this first and second number. In the same way, class C, we cannot change this first, second, and third number. But we can change this 0 by these numbers. That is, for class A, we can change this second, third, and fourth number by this number. In the same way, for class B, we can change this third and fourth number by this number. In the same way, for class C, we can change the fourth number by this number. Now let's learn what does this number signifies and what does this tell to us. If the subnet marks is 0, what does it mean? It means that it can communicate 256 IP address. You will get confused. I will clarify it by an example. Let's take the subnet marks of class C, that is 205.205.205.0. The number here is 0. What does it mean? The first IP address, that is 192.168.0.0. Next IP address will be 192.168.0.1. Next will be 2. Next 3 up to 255. So the IP address ending with 0, 1 up to 255 can communicate each other. 0 means that IP address ending with 0, 1, 2 up to 255 can communicate each other. They can share file and printer among them. If the subnet marks is 128, it means it can communicate 128 IP address. So let's see the example. My subnet marks number here is 128. It means that IP address ending with 0, 1 up to 127 can communicate each other. They can share file and printer among them. 0 to 127 summing up, it is equal to 128. So next number will be, IP address will be 128. Next 129 up to 255 can communicate each other. That is, they can share file and printer among them. But we cannot share file and printer among these two networks. That is, we are dividing the network into two subnetwork. This is known as subnetting. Suppose if the subnet marks is 0, the number of IP address that can communicate is 256. If 128 is divided into half. If 192 is divided 128 into half. That is, we are dividing larger network into smaller network. This is known as subnetting. If the subnet marks number is 0, it can communicate 256 computer. And if the subnet marks is 128, it can communicate 128 IP address. If 192, it can communicate 64. 224, it can communicate 32 IP address. 240, 16 IP address. 248, 8 IP address. 252, 4 IP address. 254, 2 IP address. And 255, 1 IP address. Now let's share what this 255 means. 255 means that this IP address can be communicated only by this number, that is 1 and 2. That is, it cannot communicate with any other number. They can communicate only with this 1 and 2 number. Second number also 255 means that it can communicate only with 168. And 255 here means that it can communicate only with 0 group IP address. 128 here means it can communicate 128 IP address, 128 IP address, that is 0 to 127, summing up is 128. Now let's take an example of class C IP address, that is 192.168.0.0. and its subnet marks is 205.205.205.128. 128 means it can communicate 128 computers. So first IP address will be 0, next 1 up to 127. The first IP address cannot be assigned to PC or any device, and the last IP address is known as broadcast address, and it cannot be assigned to any device or PC. So next number 0, next will be 1. 1 up to 126 we can assign to PC or router. Now let's learn some do's and don'ts of subnetting. I have taken class A IP address and its default subnet mark is 205.0.0.0. We cannot subnet two numbers of a subnet marks. I am subnetting here two number, that is second and third number. We cannot subnet two numbers of a subnet mask, so it is wrong. We can subnet only one number. So I have subnetted here in the second number, so it is correct. If I have if I have subnetted in the second number, then the remaining number has to be 0. If I have subnetting in the third number, then the first and second number should be 255 each, and the last number has to be 0. If I have subnet in the last number, then the first, second, third must be 255. Now let's learn how to find subnet marks, network address, and broadcast address online. So type IP subnet calculator and select IP subnet calculator. Then select the class. I am selecting the class C, and click on the subnet marks. Here there is /24, means if /24 means its subnet marks will be 255.255.255.0. If /25, then subnet marks here is 255.255.128. This 26, this is known as CIDR number. Or if /26 means subnet marks is 255.255.255.192. So I have selected here /25, and its subnet marks is 255.255.255.128. And in the IP address, I type the IP address, that is 192.168.0.1, and click on calculate. Now scroll down at the bottom. So here it will display the network address and the host range, IP range, and the broker address. And so in this way we can find out the network address, usable host range. So it is divided into two subnet. So in this way we can find the network address, broker address, and usable host range.